Good morning. All right, let's go ahead and start. All right, let's sit up nice and tall. We're going to actually do yin this week, but we are going to do a little bit of breath work. It's a super crazy week. We have the full moon eclipse on Friday, so you've probably already felt like just a little bit of madness, a little bit of craziness. Pluto has gone retrograde, which is Pluto is like the underworld and like the sort of our shadow side, stuff that we don't, our unconscious, our subconscious. So a lot of those kinds of things are being churned up to heal this week. And, where we also feel like we need to get something off of our tongue, like we need to say things. We may say things and then they're not really received that well. It just depends on where the other people are at. But yeah, just I'd say, like, as far as the symptoms, pay attention if there's any areas in your bodies that are itching this week, because itching is, like when you have a wound, like if you cut yourself and then it scabs, and then once it starts healing, it gets itchy. So that's kind of the thing, is the areas that are probably deeply healing might feel a little itchy. So just pay attention to where that is. So yeah, the full moon eclipse is Friday. So in 2 days, today's Wednesday, right? Yeah. And it's a doozy. So always time to let go, release, reevaluate, and then Mercury retrograde as well. So we've literally got the full moon, we've got Mercury retrograde, and we have an eclipse, which just means catalyst. So big healing week, but perhaps a little bit of discomfort that deals with it. All right. So thus we're doing yin, going to do more internal work and just allow for a nice loving release. Close your eye and just sit up nice and tall. Let's roll our shoulders back and then forward and then back again. And then let's bring them up, back, and down. Rub the hands together for our little tuning in and then our protection mantra. Hands come onto the heart space. And deep inhales and exhales with the nose. A lot of, Mercury Mercury rules the head. So a lot of what's being churned up is these areas that maybe still need to balance out the head and the heart. So depending on, if we've got a lot of like head stuff going on, overthinking, this kind of thing, we could still get some of those like head issues that I've mentioned a few weeks, where it's like a moving headache or, sinuses that feel like allergies, kind of a deal. All right, let's take a nice deep inhale with the nose. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Deep inhale. A little more air. And press the hands firmly together. Stretch your spine. Exhale, and we'll continue with the protection mantra. Place it, please, to your left, behind, to the right, and then the front. Deep inhale. Ad Gure Name, Jugat Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Gurudev Vehi Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugat Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Gurudev Vehi Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugat Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Gurudev Vehi Name. Deep inhale. And press the hands firmly together. Stretch the spine even more. Sip in a little more air. And then exhale. Okay, let's go on to our backs. Just hug your knees into your chest first and rock a little bit side to side, massaging the lower back. So the main energy centers that are going to be kind of really hit this week are the root chakra, And the solar plexus, again, we had the solar plexus last week, and then the third eye. So a lot of awakening time, it's like almost like the crystalline, like when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. It's sort of in this dark cocoon before it becomes a butterfly. So this is sort of the energy we're in. So it's very alchemic, very transformational, but a little bit blinding, like we're not really quite maybe getting it. Okay, let's go ahead and place the feet onto the ground. Bring the hands into cactus arms and just allow both knees to float over to the right. And then lift your head and then turn it to the left. And just breathe here. So I don't really want you to change your breathing. Just notice it. Notice how your body feels this morning. We're just doing a nice gentle twist on the spine. We're going to hold this about 3 minutes. So if in the mornings it feels good to you to use props, you're welcome to put pillows under your knees or between your knees. And you're, again, keeping the eyes closed because that really helps us go internal more so than external. And just breathing in and out through the nose. And just kind of scanning your body. Notice if any areas are feeling a little tight or different in any way. Root chakra, could affect the hips, the sciatica, the lower spine. I'm just setting my timer. And you can always use mantras with yin. It's not really ever taught with yin because we're taught to not change the breath. But if it's helpful for you as far as, keeping your thoughts from wandering, which is totally normal, then you can use a mantra that will help you stay in the present moment. So like Sat with the inhale, Nam with the exhale, or if there's anything in particular that you're sort of working on this week. Because the thing is with our root chakras being so activated, that's, our survival mode. That's like also control. So there might be areas where we don't have control, don't feel like we have control. So, you could like exhale. This is just an example, but you could exhale, that frustration or that nervous energy. There's a lot of energy coming in this week. So you could just exhale that, and then inhale strength or inhale love or inhale gratitude. Gratitude's always a really big, helpful one to shift your energy if anything's ever difficult. If you can go back to those memory banks when we did a lot of heart math and you had your moments where you can remember where you were really grateful. That will be very useful for the next days to come because we'll be feeling also this full moon and eclipse for quite some time. Just allow your body to sink into the mat. So nice and stable, almost like heavy as you just allow the twist to gently open and release out of your spine. It's kind of like twisting like a rag or a towel that's got a lot of water in it, but we're doing it nice and gently. Let's take a couple more breaths here. And then with your next inhale, lift the head and just turn it back to the center, and then exhale. And then inhale and bring your knees back to the middle again. And here I'd like you, always do a little yang between the yin. So keep your knees a little wide, grab onto the knees, and I want you to just do some circles here. So you can just start in whichever direction feels good to you. Really massaging those lower chakras and your hips. And then switching directions. And then come back to center. Keep the knees bent, this time close in. drop the feet to the ground again. Hands come into cactus arms, and again, if you do use props, grab those now. We're going to allow both knees to float over to the left, and then lift the head, and then turn it to the right. Close the eyes, and bring your awareness back to your mantra, back to your breath. And just allowing everything to sink in. So feel your hips sink in. Nothing should hurt or pinch or tingle. If it does, please use props or adjust accordingly. You want to always have a feeling that you can just stay in this position for like 20 minutes without anything hurting or putting any pressure on anything. Feel your shoulders sink into the mat. Eyes are closed, so really go internal. And as much as you can, practice staying in this present moment. So use the mantra or even just focusing on your breath. The mantra for breath that we use quite often is so hung. So the inhale is so, and then exhale is hung. And that's a little bit like the sound of the breath. And that's not a Kundalini thing, that's a Hatha thing. So choose what works for you best. Notice your spine. Digestions, those little bubbles I talked about, I think I've talked about them last week or maybe the week before. Those could be a little bit more of an issue again this week because we're just churning stuff up. And just pay attention to your dreams as always. So anytime we're in this like Plutonian, unconscious type of energy, a lot of the unconscious, subconscious areas is where we're going to get more of the revelations and little pieces to the puzzle. So yeah, you might dream of people that you haven't thought about in years, or situations, or those might pop up into your daydreams. So those are all just things that have perhaps aspects that are ready to be healed. And we'll just stay here about another 30 seconds. And then take another deep inhale and a deep exhale. And then with your next inhale, lift the head and turn it back to the middle. And then exhale. And then your next inhale, bring the knees back to center. And we're going to take the feet about hip distance apart. Walk them as close as you can to the bottom. Bring your fingertips to your heels for bridge as you're yang for the counter. Head is straight towards the ceiling, but keep the eyes closed even though we're doing yang. We're going to inhale and press the hips up to the ceiling and squeeze the knees in. So just keep up and just kind of squeeze in, up a little more. And then exhale, come down. We're going to do 2 more of these. If you do need to adjust your feet, walking them closer to the bottom, go ahead and do that. And let's inhale, press the hips up, and squeeze the knees in. Head stays straight, please. Push up a little higher. And then exhale down. And then one last time. Let's go ahead and inhale, pressing up. And squeeze in. And then exhale back down. Squeeze the knees into the chest, just rock side to side a couple times, giving that lower back area a little bit of love. And then we're going to rock forward and backward and rock all the way up, but take a couple so that you can massage your entire spinal column, and then come on up to seated. And we're going to come into a butterfly, taking a little quick route from caterpillar to butterfly. So close the eyes and just kind of flop your knees a little bit. And each morning might be a little different where you place your feet. So in a diamond, not really close in, but again, just wherever it feels right for your hips. We're going to do 3 phases, each one about a minute or so. So you can have your hands on the ground or on your legs, wherever it feels good to you, and come forward just to where you feel something. Once you're forward, go ahead and drop chin to chest and breathe here. Coming back to your mantra so that you can focus on your breath and focus on the now, on the present moment. Take a couple more breaths here. And then lift your head very gently. And keeping the eyes closed, we're going to come into the second position, the second phase. So maybe walking the hands a little bit more forward. Each morning might be a little different. You can always adjust your feet or your legs if you need to, but once you're in the position, then go ahead and drop chin to chest and just stay here. And a few more breaths here. And then lift your head and come into the third position. So third position, either the hands out or perhaps the elbows to the knees, or if you're down lower, you can take your hands under your legs and drop your head. See what feels good for you. And we'll just breathe here, coming back to the mantra or the words that you're using. Big release time. Like everything energetically is a great time for release and letting go. So taking advantage of that, those deeper levels. So possibly also, I think you already drink a lot of water, but see if you can drink even more water to help cleanse, your meat suit, so to say, your body system, since we are releasing, and it's quite a detox energetically. So you might even find that the way your your sweat smells. It smells a little different. You know, sometimes when we eat differently, it can smell differently, but it's kind of more of an energetic thing now. And we're like, oh wow, didn't smell like that before. So yeah, drink a lot of water if you can. Even more than you normally, or tea. You know, just hydrate. Eat watermelon. A couple more breaths here. And then we're going to just place our hands on the ground, lift the head, and very slowly walk back up. Coming into a wide windshield wiper. So take the hips, the feet wider than the hips. Turn the fingertips the other way around. And we're just going to swish, swish in both directions. And again, if you can, just keep the eyes closed, going internally. And then let's go ahead and hold over to the right. And keep the head and the body, the shoulders straight. And then we'll go ahead and bend the left elbow and then look over the left shoulder. So really opening the upper chest, the heart, the neck. So you might even, like one of the symptoms you might even feel this week is a little more of a stiffer neck. Because we're blending, like I said, we're kind of having new levels of opening between the heart and the head. And then back to the center, and we'll swish, swish again. And then let the knees float over to the left and stay straight first. So shoulders pretty straight, head straight, eyes closed. Notice your breath. And then let's bend that right elbow and then just twist looking over the right shoulder. And then come back to center and swish again. And then we're going to come to seated and just close with Ego Eradicator. And I hate to actually even call it Ego Eradicator this week because we're kind of integrating our ego, so we're almost like we're just making more space, but it's not necessarily a bad thing or just creating space in this area. So let's sit up nice and tall, curl the fingers a fourth of the way under, maybe bring the thumbs together first, close the eyes, and then pull the arms out into a V. And we're going to go ahead and just go at your own pace, inhaling, pressing the tummy out, exhale and pull it back. Inhale out, exhale back. And really pump that lower belly. This is a huge cleansing breath and mantra and mudra. So Sat Nam, Sat Nam. This is kind of like our espresso, our coffee for the day. This will give you energy. If you're ever feeling tired, you can do Breath of Fire, this Ego Eradicator, and it'll bring energy to your body system. So this is really good for the immune system, really good for the blood, gets everything pumping, great for the organs. We're just kind of giving everything internally some attention and some life force right now. Sat Nam, Sat Nam. Still feeling that space between the shoulders and the ears. So make sure as you're breathing and as you're in this position, you're not lifting the shoulders up and cramping up. So feel yourself big as you're doing this breath. Eyes are focused on the third eye. A lot of activation on the third eye this week, as I mentioned, which is a good thing, a cool thing. We're going to do about less than a minute. So keep going, pump even more. When you're doing this breath, you're kind of connecting mentally the place between your navel and your third eye. So you're pumping that lower belly, but also focusing like the 2 points, kind of almost bringing them together. If you can imagine like drawing an energetic line between the two. About another 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly inhale with the nose and pull thumb to thumb. Very slowly inhaling, pulling. Allow them to touch and stretch the fingers up, up, up. Squeeze the energy up from the base of your spine all the way up the spine. Inhale a little bit more and really press the root. Squeeze Mula Bandha. Tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Keep the fingers up, the hands up. Powerfully cannonball exhale out with the mouth. Squeeze the root again. Tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and then squeeze, compress the entire spine. So in particular, under the belly, over the belly, heart, throat, third eye, crown. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Inhale again. And then just slowly float your hands down. Imagine you're sitting in a ball of gold and beautiful healing light as you sweep your aura. And just bring the hands into Gaya Mudra. Turn them upward for receiving. Turn the corners of your mouth upward a little bit and just bring yourself to a moment where you are very grateful. So see if you can bring in all of the frequencies of that moment. So like how it felt, how you saw it, maybe even how it smelled. So feeling, sensing, maybe even taste. And just feel that moment, bringing coherence into the body system. And you can take however long you want or need each morning. If you do want to stay in this coherence longer, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and inhale deeply. Exhale deeply. Inhale and open your eyes. Exhale. And bring your hands to your heart space. Satnam, namaste. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Till we see each other next week, one of the days.